from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Coming up on AgDay, safety net checks starting to hit mailboxes, but could it be enough to help save a waning farm economy? In agribusiness, when could a weather market spark the markets again?
I would be more apt to think that you're going to get a weather problem at some point, say, between Christmas and Valentine's Day.
We'll tell you which crop poses the greatest chance for a rally. A former Top Producer of the Year winner gives a glimpse at his recipe for success.
Just growing for the sake of growth is not what we want to do.
It's the journey to the top, and some company ads claim they have happy cows, but what does it really take to make cows happy? We'll head in the country to find out.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Safety net payments are rolling out from USDA, and the Secretary of Ag says he hopes the money will help farmers facing difficult circumstances this year. USDA announcing more than $9.6 billion in payments are now headed to farms this week. The money coming from the ARC PLC safety net programs and the Conservation Reserve Program. ARC and PLC alone will account for $8 billion of that, and that's from the 2016 season. Those programs were authorized in the 2014 Farm Bill. Secretary Perdue says, quote, many of these payments will be made to landowners and producers in rural communities that have recently been ravaged by drought, wildfires, and deadly hurricanes. I am hopeful this financial assistance will help those experiencing losses with immediate cash flows needed as we head toward the end of the year. ARC payments for corn and soybean growers will likely depend on where they live.
And farmers have to remember this is the 2016 crop is paid in October of 2017 or a little bit later for some of the specialty crops. When we're looking at the 2017 crop, you know, that Olympic average price has dropped quite a bit for most of the crops. For those farmers that were electing ARC, they're likely not to get much of a payment in 17 or 18 unless prices really drop, and I think in that case most farmers would rather say I don't want an ARC payment because that means I'm losing a lot of money otherwise.
On the PLC side, NEFR says wheat growers could see huge payments this year, up to $100 an acre or more in some places. In Washington, it only took 9 months. The Senate Tuesday evening confirming two more Department of Ag officials, Stephen Sinskey as Deputy Secretary of Agriculture and Ted McKinney as Undersecretary of Agriculture for Trade and Foreign Agricultural Affairs. The confirmation by voice vote, the action following unanimous approval a day earlier by the Senate Ag Committee. Perdue has been the lone confirmed USDA appointed official since his confirmation vote back in the spring. Even with the long wait for the two key appointments within USDA, Farm Journal Washington correspondent Jim Wiesmeyer says there's a silver lining in this.
It's not that they haven't been working behind the scenes, and not being forced or with a day-to-day meeting albatross. They've been able probably to focus on the priority items that they're going to deal with, so they can hit the ground more than running. So I think there's the silver lining for you.
The Senate Ag Committee now moving on with other key nominations, holding confirmation hearings today for Bill Northey, tapped for Undersecretary of Farm and Conservation, and Greg Eibach, selected for Undersecretary for Marketing and Regulatory Programs. Even with the Senate going on fall break at the end of this week, Wiesmeyer thinks both of those nominations will be confirmed by the end of October.
Journey to the Top is brought to you exclusively by Smart Stacks. Smart Stacks. Stay true to your roots.
AgDay and our corporate cousins at Top Producer Magazine are teaming up to revisit former Top Producer of the Year candidates. Well, this month, national reporter Betsy Gibbon checks in with Indiana farmer Kip Tom to see how his operation has changed since he won the award back in 2007.
This is the old family homestead.
A foundation helping Kip Tom create a farming empire, eclipsing the 120-acre square from when he was just a farm kid in Leesburg, Indiana.
So there's 5 kids and our 2 parents in that house for a long time. A lot of good memories. Yeah.
Quite a bit has happened since then. Along with his farming career, he jumped into politics, joining a 5-person race for his U.S. House of Representatives seat 2 years ago, but came in second by just 3 percentage points.
To change Washington, we need to change the people we send there. I'm Kip Tom, and I approve this message.
Are we done now? We need to get back to work.
Now, granted, I wasn't given the opportunity to serve, but I can tell you I am remaining engaged today, and I will continue to serve our industry.
Though he did not make it to Washington, his work is getting noticed. President Trump recognizing him during a visit to Indianapolis in late September.
With us today is Kip Tom, a family farmer from Leesburg. Where's Kip?
It's not the first time Kip was considered for the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture position under the Trump administration, a role which went to Sonny Perdue.
Get involved in the process. Reach out to your local congressional leaders, your local politicians in your own county or in your state. Support your local community and hopefully have an outcome.
Today, Tom says he is under consideration for a role which would have a major impact on food security globally.
I enjoy the process, and I'll remain engaged in Washington to stand up for farm values and our rural values as well.
That's why back on Tom Farms, they're moving forward with the family succession plan as Kip's kids work their way into the operation.
So right now, my main focus is on coaching the family business here, whether it's employees or whether it's the leadership of the business. It's to make sure that we're setting the business up to span generations, not just one, but many more.
All of his kids serving different roles on the operation. One opportunity is advancement with technology.
He's kind of instilled in us that technology is a key to improving our operation and our business and becoming more efficient and really bringing out the best that agriculture has. So implementing new technologies has been a very big part of our operation.
He's made investments in a number of ag tech startups in the public and private sector. Technology to improve agriculture.
Better utilization of our time, better utilization of our assets, increasing productivity.
Kip has expanded his acreage over the years and added close to 4 million bushels of on-farm storage.
Just growing for the sake of growth is not what we want to do. We want to do it for the right reasons, and that's making sure we got a sustainable business that can support itself and is good for the industry, the community, and our business along the way.
This new building holds fertilizer and chemicals with room to grow.
Now our fertilizer all comes in by rail. It doesn't have to be handled multiple times. We can bring in our chemicals by the semi-load, and we can apply fertilizer in the spring around the clock if we want to, or during the summer.
Sustain and succession, understanding the best plan for the farm today and doing it better tomorrow. Words Kip tries to live by while remembering where he came from and why he farms.
Your experiences in 4-H or FFA, remember how maybe your parents struggled. Maybe there was difficulties on the farm and making ends meet. And I think you have to go back to those to understand how you're rooted in society.
Reporting for AgDay, I'm Betsy Gibbon.
Mike Hoffman keeping an eye on some wet weather in today's crop comments. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Clinton. Eric Stearns shared this picture with us on Twitter. He says fields near Worthing, South Dakota have received 4 inches of rain in the past 3 days. With this much water, harvest 17 will just have to wait. Just 3% of corn and 10% of soybeans have been harvested so far in South Dakota, according to USDA. And not just wet, but cold. Sean and Steph White posting this picture on Twitter from Rocky Boy, Montana. That area saw 30 inches of snow in the last few days. Some areas dealing with 8-foot drifts. Amazing. And taking a look at the weather map today, most of that snow is coming to an end in the northern Rockies, but now it's rain along the warm front. We'll show you where this storm system is heading next and have your forecast, but first here are some hometown temps.
Ever wake up wondering what does today's weather have in store? Well, with weather updates, it delivers the local forecast right to your cell phone each morning to make preparing for the day easier. Just text Weather 6 to 31313 to get started.
When we come back, we'll talk about the upcoming supply-demand report and how to prepare. And later, slogans say happy cows, but what does it truly mean to these beautiful bovine? Researchers hoping to find out.
AgDay, brought to you by the Enlist Weed Control System. More weed control, less drift and volatility, maximum yield potential.
John Payne, Daniels Ag Marketing, our guest here today. John, so we just had a big stocks report last week. Seems like we just had the September WASDE report, right. But October's going to be here in just a few days, less than a week, or about a week. What do you think?
Well, this is the report today was kind of the prelims of the main event. I think is the 12th of October. So, we're going to find out who's been lying, so to speak. Is it the farmer who's been squawking about subpar conditions all year, or the USDA going to get validated? I lean towards the latter, but I actually think that's a good opportunity here for a low to be made. Funds are relatively flat on the soybean side. I think a little bit net short on the corn, and I think we break here off these reports. See some buy the rumor, sell the fact type of price action, and given where we are, I think there's a lot of upside given what South America is going to do in the next couple of months.
Yeah, what are you watching as far as indicators for market moves beyond just these reports in October?
Well, I would love to see how these funds are going to pile in. This is, also, not to mention, big report time, but it's the beginning of the fiscal year. So the speculative traders that tend to move this stuff around, they're going to start fresh here, and I think they're essentially in a level where they can go either way. I think soybeans, they're going to be apt to add to that length if the USDA doesn't confirm a good crop. And to be honest, they'll probably buy anyway. On the corn side, I look for the spread action to come in at some point. But again, as we've mentioned in a lot of the content we do here, a lot of farmers in the same boat. They have product to sell. They found themselves very undersold because of a lack of a rally midsummer, and the carries are really wide. So if you're storing corn,
yes,
you know you're going to sell it in March or you're going to sell it in May, and you have that planned out, don't wait till March or May to move it. You can make those decisions early and try to go to the HTA market or sell futures contracts. Lock in that carry. It's wide right now. It's there for you. If you have bins that are sitting empty right now and they're going to have bushels in them, you're now a commercial elevator. You have to think that way.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of different pieces to be moving around as we get through the end of this year. Anything you're watching on South America? Any indication of what that's going to look like this year?
Well, it's a little dry right now. Acreage is down in corn. I wish I could predict the weather, of course, but I would be more apt to think that you're going to get a weather problem at some point, say between Christmas and Valentine's Day, and I think that could be your opportunity to get some of this carry locked in. Don't fall asleep on the DC18. We get a rally in corn, say 20 cents. That might move that contract up to say 410, 420. Your best prices don't have to come when you sell them. They can come 9 months prior.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll be back in more AgDay in just a minute.
To follow John Payne's take on the market, check out www.thisweekingrain.com. AgDay, brought to you by Corvus, the #1 pre-emergence corn herbicide. AgDay weather, brought to you by Kawasaki and the new Mule Pro FXR side-by-side. Ride like a boss with high-end styling and rugged capability.
Welcome back to AgDay. Your meteorologist Mike Hoffman. Mike, we look at this warm front. Yes, rain right there where those places need it in the middle of the country.
Yeah, really. It's heading through that dry area in the central Mississippi Valley on into Indiana and eastern Ohio Valley as well. Although whether you're happy or not about that in this area might depend on whether you're harvesting right now. Obviously, it's dry and you could use the water, but during harvest, you might not want it, obviously. Warm front just barely moving back northward after the cold front moves into the Pennsylvania, Maryland area with a few scattered showers along it. There's later on today, you can see some areas of rain to the north of the warm front, scattered showers and thunder showers down into the Four Corner region. Area of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico, not so far showing signs of becoming tropical, but something we'll still have to watch as we head into this weekend. You can see how this warm front, though, as is typical, moistens up during the nighttime hours, so some pretty good rains expected. Kansas City northward into the Omaha area and then eastward north of that warm front all the way into the southern portions of the Great Lakes the way it looks, and that'll continue through the day tomorrow. So this will be the wettest system on the map over the next 48 hours or so. It's already been the wettest system, I suppose, over the past 36 hours. You can see some decent amounts there, eastern Kansas, eastern Oklahoma. Adding in the next 36 hours, some areas there, especially kind of centered on Kansas City, end up with 5-6 inches of rain, according to our computer model. Parts of Florida getting some decent amounts, South Texas getting a little bit. Now, as far as snow is concerned, it's all the higher elevations out west, and there's not a whole lot more going to fall. Most of it is already on the ground in the northern portions of the Rockies. High temperatures today on the chilly side across the northern plains, although that's typical for this time of the year, mid to upper 50s. Still pretty muggy for this time of the year, though, south of the Ohio River and the southern half of the plains. Lows tonight, 60s and 70s. Southeastern quadrant of the country, 30s and 40s in the northern Rockies and the far northern plains, and more of the same tomorrow. Kind of the dividing line, obviously, is that frontal system. There's the jet stream. You can see the big cutoff trough out west kind of folds into the main trough, bringing that thing eastward, but the ridge still tries to hold in the southeast, so the battleground area is going to be kind of the northern plains of Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, depending on exactly where those fronts are, who's getting the rain over the next week or so. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. For Pocatello, Idaho today, cool with times of sunshine and clouds, high of 57 degrees. Tulsa, Oklahoma, variably cloudy and mild, slight chance of a thundershower, high of 80. And Saginaw, Michigan, sunshine followed by increasing clouds, a high of just 69.
Still to come, some feed yard margins starting to show red while beef packers remain on the strong profit run. We'll have those numbers next. And as the World Dairy Expo remains underway in the land of dairy, researchers on the quest to find truly happy cows.
AgDay, brought to you by Creden soybean seed from Bayer, designed using smart genetics with tailored varieties to fit any field condition. Drovers TV on AgDay is brought to you by QLF. For 40 years, QLF has been proud to support American farmers that feed the world.
On Drovers TV, feed yard margins continuing a downward slide. The latest Sterling profit tracker showing average feed yard margins last week at $26 per head. Now, according to our partners over at Drovers, that means many cattle sold last week lost money. But beef packers are still seeing impressive gains. The profit tracker showing packer margins hitting $160 per head. That's up $6 from last week. Meanwhile, with a growing hog herd, farrow to finished pork producers also looking at red. The profit tracker indicating those producers lost an average of $19 per head, but that's a $5 improvement from the previous week. Compare that to last month when those same producers were making $15 per head. The beef industry trying to grow China's appetite for U.S. beef. U.S. Beef China Roadshow happening in cities like Beijing and Shanghai, which included a week of events bringing exporters and importers together. The U.S. Meat Export Federation created the event and said more than 300 Chinese importers attended. U.S. beef sales launched in August, but the industry says it's taking time and effort to change Chinese customers' taste to U.S. beef. From beef to dairy, what really makes those cows happy? We'll have that answer coming up next.
This is Machinery Pete, inviting you to check out my new website, machinerypete.com. Offering farmers tens of thousands of used equipment listings to search, let Machinery Pete help you find and value your next piece of used equipment.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. See the hardest working tractors in ag at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
As thousands of people and dairy animals make their way to the World Dairy Expo, researchers at UW-Madison have been researching what it takes to help these cows achieve utter bliss.
Mitch Breinig has been working with Dr. Nigel Cook and the Dairyland Initiative to study what makes dairy cows truly happy.
A really happy cow is either eating or laying down or in the milking parlor being milked. And one of the things we've done with the university, the Dairyland Initiative, is look at how many hours a day that our cows lay down and doing things that we can do to improve and make that number larger.
Dr. Nigel Cook, director of the Dairyland Initiative, has been working for a decade to help dairy farmers improve housing conditions to make cows more comfortable.
It was really a vehicle to make sure that producers that wanted to build a facility had the information they needed to do the best possible job.
A recent study focused on easing cow stress and creating comfortable bedding. If a cow is resting, she's ruminating and producing milk. The study also compared different bedding materials and found that cows laying on sand are more comfortable and rest longer.
Making sure that cows get at least 12 hours of rest. We do that on a deep bed of sand, so this is now life on a beach for our dairy cows.
With sand in place at Mystic Valley Dairy, they soon realized that the stalls weren't large enough to comfortably accommodate a large cow, so they expanded the stall size.
We made them wider, but we also took out our brisket boards and we made them longer. You know, we immediately got more milk production out of our cows.
She's a metabolic athlete. We need her to have that downtime to get that rest. Gets her off her feet and keeps her healthy.
And that's Wisconsin Dairy News.
And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Start your day with us. For Mike Hoffman, Betsy Gibbon, and all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by Ram Commercial, America's longest-lasting heavy-duty pickups.